And we got another late night news show, transfer show, whatever you want to call it. We got Boki, Gary, and Jefferson should be coming back any time now. How's it going, lads? All good?
All good, all
Good,
good.
yeah.
Oh, good, man. Well, I mean, it looks like we got what let me go. Let me go to the title here from the Telegraph. Luke Edwards reporting earlier today around what is it midday? He was reporting that exclusive Newcastle launched triple bids for Pedro, Trafford, and Elanga. So today he's posting this, and of course, people in the chat telling them you're gonna get battered for this one, mate. But we got to talk about it. So it'll help us also understand how much money we got to spend, because this tells you really if we're willing to go for these three targets, if for the amount of money they're talking about, we can spend over 100 million easy, according to this. So we're gonna talk about that and much more. I think I threw the link at. Let me see. I'm trying to get Jefferson in, but how you guys doing? Well, I mean, what do you think? First of all, it looks like we are very much going. We sent bids, I guess. I only knew about Elanga. I didn't know about any other player. Now I knew that we were interested in Pedro, and well, I did. I guess you could say I did know about Trafford. So yeah, but I didn't know we sent a bid for Pedro. There's Jefferson there. How's it going, mate?
You
And
guys.
so apparently we for these three players 125 million. The positive in that. The positive in that is that we got 125 million to spend, right? I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I would say that's pretty good. Now, if that's the budget, I don't know if that's the budget, 130 million or maybe 150 if you really went around things and go with what I think. I don't know if it was Stephen Balson or the other guy. I don't know who was saying that we had around. We should have around 150 to spend. But maybe that's the case. So let me read parts of the article, and then we'll start, dissecting this whole thing. Newcastle have made bids for Brighton, João Pedro, James Trafford, and the one that I knew about was Elanga. A triple swoop is hugely ambitious, an ambitious attempt by the club to fill three of their four positional needs this summer, and would represent a remarkable piece of business if they can pull it off. If they can pull it off, obviously. I think that would be as well. Would you guys be happy with Elanga, Pedro, and Trafford? Would you think that our squad would be extremely? We could compete for the Champions League with those three players added?
Compete for the Champions League. I mean,
Well, I mean, compete in the Champions League and the Premier League.
Exactly. I think what it gives you is depth. I mean, there's going to be lots of opinions regarding quality of the players coming in. I mean, I'm still not 100% of some of the names, if I'm honest with you. But again, you can only. The way I look at it is the fact that we see them playing for a different club. And, we all questioned, when J7 was playing up top, is he going to be the first one out the door when Eddie Howe took over the realm? None of us expected a switch of position. Now, if Eddie can sprinkle some of his magic dust on some of these squad players, and I think that's what you've got to start looking at. I mean, I know everybody's saying we've got to automatically upgrade the 11. I don't think we're far away regarding a team, but we seem to be mile away regarding a squad. And I think, whoever comes in, I mean, Eddie said he wants a minimum of 2 players in before the start of the 7th, where the lads report back for training. So, is this Eddie just getting an idea of how much these players are gonna cost? I think maybe the 125. It's nice to know that we've got to spend, but if he's trying to get blood out of the stone, and we know that the opposition clubs are all asking for a little bit higher, so for me, it's a case of it's a stepping stone. Whether he should continue, if he believes, or PIF believes that this is too high, then he should be looking elsewhere. I don't think what we shouldn't do now is do the Gay saga, where we're talking 2 weeks into July, and we're still negotiating on the same players. because there is
Right.
lots of other players out there.
So let me. I'm going to go with Jefferson with this. So the Telegraph Sports understands that all three are interested in the moves and would love to play for a manager like Eddie Howe. Well, that's what they're saying. I mean, we don't know. It could be true, I guess, if they want to come, or the shirt, or the club, the fans, whatever. With the lure of Champions League on Tyneside, that's a big one. Newcastle are seen as a club on the rise, and players' wage demands will not be an issue. So it won't be an issue as far as salary, I guess you can say, according to this. However, there remains a lot of work to be done before anything is finalized, and there is, understandably, resistance from the clubs they are under contracts with. So, Jefferson, your take on these three individuals, and yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting one in terms of obviously, it fits the MO of our current head coach. I think particularly if Pedro goes through, it does add some much needed depth in attack and is effectively, a Wilson replacement. So physically, I think getting him through the door would be positive. And hopefully we see the Pedro of 2 seasons ago, not last season.
Not last season. No.
There's something in there though about, is there a certain stubbornness that he wanted him before he's gone back in for him? But I do think he would be a good addition to the squad, particularly with the other Brazilian boys. In terms of Trafford, you guys know my views on him. I'm not going to go in on him. I
What are your
really
views on
don't
him?
think.
I don't know.
I'm going to be the villain again, and everyone's going to be coming for me in this chat. But listen, I just don't get why the start of Champions League is champion. We've gone we're in the Champions League and we've gone for a championship, goalkeeper. I know they've just got promoted, but again, it's about the stubbornness and obsession of a player rather than, what does the club actually need right now? What we need right now is, as good as Nick Pope is, if we do want to move to a possession-based style, is an upgrade, but an upgrade in all its forms. So, i.e., looking for what Nick Pope can do and better, not having to coach a player. Don't worry, he'll get better. And this is my worry about this approach: is that I think this would have been fine 2 years ago, even last year. But we've seen how we've advanced, and we're looking to add to the quality that we have. So out of those three, only really Pedro, you could argue, adds depth to the squad and quality. The fact that Murphy has outperformed Elanga last season doesn't strike me as adding quality, particularly based on the quoted touted price. So the only thing I would say that could be positive is if we're looking to spend this early and that amount, does it mean we have a lot left in the coffers? And could there be even more players coming in? Because to blow our load early would be an interesting one. So that could be one of the real positives, that there could be more money to spend.
All right. So Boki, the Telegraph here says how they're describing how the 125 million is going to be broken down, I guess. And I think Newcastle are believed to have verbally discussed bids of around 50 million for Pedro. So 50 million for Pedro, and are willing to pay around the same for Elanga. So what do you think? I mean, 100 million for these two players, are they actually the same? I mean, do they, if we think Elanga is worth 50, should Pedro be 50, more, less? Because I don't necessarily think they both had. I think Elanga had a better season last season than Pedro, but I think Pedro is regarded as more of, I guess, quality player. So, what do you think?
I'm guessing some of it's based around their contracts that they've got at the clubs that they're at. So they might be on slightly, one of them might be on a slightly longer contract. So it's around that sort of thing as well. I think what we've got to look at is where we are at the minute. We do need to get the average age of the squad down, and the players that we can go in for, we're not a club that at the minute that can go in for players that are at the prime. We can't go in and spend like hundreds of millions on one player because we need to build up squad depth. So I think we are going to have to buy younger players at a premium, like a little bit more of a premium rate. I mean, I don't think you're going to get any of these three players for the prices that are being quoted, to be perfectly honest. I think it's going to be. I mean, the two for the upfront positions, you're probably going to be looking at 60, 65 for the clubs to even start considering it. And
Wow.
Burnley might start with 30 for Trafford. So it's again, it's sort of a difficult one. It also depends whether any of the clubs are struggling for the financial side of things, whether they have to sell. I heard today Burnley are slightly, they do need to get rid of somebody. So potentially, if
Yeah.
you're getting 30 million for a keeper, that's maybe the route to go down.
Well, Newcastle offer for Trafford is understood to be 25 million with add-ons. So does that mean like with extra add-ons or included within the 25 million?
No,
Uh,
they'd be 25 million up front, I would guess, and then add-ons on
and
top
then
of that.
add-ons.
I heard it
So
was a 20% sell-on fee or something.
right. Haven't heard of that, but I mean, 25 million for Trafford, is that a lot? For the 40 they wanted, it is, but I think 25 should be decent. And again, I, I don't think we need a goalkeeper, but
I mean, I think when he's 23-year-old. I mean, England number 3 if you look at it, and I think the biggest thing for me, I understand where Jefferson's coming from when you're looking at the squad from where we are to where we want to be. But I think we can all say there's better goalkeepers out there, and there potentially is. Now, we've heard from Nick Pope himself to say that he wasn't going anywhere. He wants to stay at the club. So I think bringing Trafford in isn't as much of a gamble as I would have if we'd have bought somebody that was totally unknown.
mhm.
I think everybody has a weakness. I mean, we all saw Onana at Manchester United. I mean, they all said he was the next thing since sliced bread with his feet, but he couldn't stop. He was sponsored by Teflon. Nothing stuck in his hands. So, for me, it's a case of, it's a gamble, but I think it's a positive gamble because I do think it's not a case of like training the lad. The lad knows what he's got to do. And I think, unfortunately, when he got relegated with Burnley, I mean, as much of the flack went to him, I mean, even from company. And according to the rumour that came out of Burnley at the time, it was the fact that Nick Pope questioned the tactics of the manager. And that was trying to play football out from the back. And it was that continuous thing from company that he wanted to do that. And apparently, Trafford
With
turned
Nick,
around.
when
Sorry, it was Trafford, not Pope.
Trafford.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, I meant to say Trafford. Trafford apparently turned around and said, if you haven't got the defenders that can play football, why are we playing this style? And apparently the week after he was dropped. So,
That's a bold move.
and this is what you get. You questioned about Dubravka and Nick Pope when he signs his contract and then gets dropped to the bench. Um, you know, coaches these days are quite cutting when they need to be. They can put your arm around you 1 minute and bull you up, and they can kick you completely into touch the next. Football is a cutthroat industry, and I think we're starting to see, for me, a development in that. Now, we heard the Rashford rumours. Now, apparently, Villa have paid the clause, the 40 million, to buy Rashford. So they are now dealing with payments of his wages and everything else. And apparently, he turned down Newcastle. So it looks very much as though Newcastle did go and inquire, and he said he didn't want to go to Newcastle.
Interesting.
So again, that is an interesting story in itself because, for me, it's about squashing the rumours now, getting the old news out the way. But I don't think Trafford's as much of a gamble as we believe. I think yes, there's better goalkeepers out there that are ready to go in between the sticks, but I do think there's enough in Trafford to become not only our number one. Maybe it won't be the next season, but he'll definitely be number one in the future and potentially England's number one.
Obviously everybody knows Eddie Howe made it clear that he would like to have at least 2 new signings before the start of preseason, July 7th. So preseason is about to be what, next week, the following week, next week, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere maybe 2 weeks from now or whatever.
Seventh.
it's a
Yeah,
seventh. It's
yeah.
a seventh.
So I mean, you got a week and a half, so I guess you can get a deal done. But there is also a willingness to move on to other names on the short list if compromise on fees cannot be reached. Now, what this is saying here is that if Newcastle are able to reach an agreement, for example, with João Pedro before they agree a fee for Elanga, it may well mean that they drop their interest in the latter and vice versa. It takes me to my conversation last week. We had one of the conversations that some said, I don't rate Elanga, but if Joao Pedro comes, then I think it's a good window. So if you were to get only one of the two, which one would it be, and would you be happy with that? Let me go with Jefferson.
Yeah, I think look, João Pedro, at least from what we saw, particularly when Brighton first signed him, looked like he had an incredibly high ceiling. We know that this is someone, if he's focused on his game, he has a tempestuous side to him, similar to Cunha. If he's focused on his game, he can be a real threat. And I think the caveat of a signing like Pedro would be that he can play across the front line. And that's something that Eddie
Yeah.
has made very evident he's wanted. Even if you look back to sort of Hugo Ekitike and targets like that, that's what he wants, which is fine. I think it's good because it can double up the threat of having a right wing inside forward, as well as having a backup striker. So you're getting more bang for your buck. Essentially, you're getting someone that can play 2 or 3 positions in one signing. So you could argue if there's a slightly higher fee, you're looking at kind of what Boki was talking about, 60, 65. You can't.
Oh, he's possessed.
He is. The demon is within.
It's possessed, man. Look at Jefferson. Wow. Oh, I got him now. I got to keep the picture of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
I think
screenshot that one.
I think I
Yeah.
heard him say as well that he wants Wilson to sign up for another season. So
that's that's what Mighty Win looks like when he goes to the brothel. Uh,
That was a classic, that one, man. The demon face was there for all time. He's gone again, man.
Oh, he's gone again.
That was annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's the South London internet out here, man. I don't know what's going on. Thankfully, it's not a power cut. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I was just saying, you're getting more bang for your buck in terms of, you're getting essentially a player that can play 2 or 3 positions.
Look at this twat, man.
So,
Winnie
boy.
You come back from Chinatown, man.
I've just set the demons on Jefferson.
Drink some water, man. It's not gonna be a good day for you. Drink some water. So you were finishing your point, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in terms of the quality, I think he's shown it. I think with Elanga, he does have a lot of pace, which is a threat.
Oh,
bugger.
We are really having some issues over there.
The demon is being exposed.
In South London, I think he said, right? That would be what club is from South London? People in the chat and everybody here. Club from South London. That would be Crystal Palace.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. I need some clubs from South London, man. Come on.
He's gone again.
He's there.
I have no idea what's going on. It just keeps cutting, and I do apologise, guys. Man. Yeah, I was just saying, sorry, with Elanga, with his pace, he better fits a counter-attacking team. So I'm not sure actually whether he would suit our style of play. The other thing is, like, obviously we know Isak is world class in that centre forward position, but he's a very different type of centre forward to Chris Wood. So when we're looking at someone that's going to essentially feed the striker, we're looking at not just kind of whipping crosses into the box, but feeding it through. Haven't seen too much of that kind of play from Elanga, so I would understand why the club's like, you know what, if we get one of them, let's try and save that 50 mil plus and put it somewhere else.
Yeah. All right, Win, you want to show us something? So we want to show us what? Let me
Just
right there.
About the age of the squad when I was in the car coming back. Who won the league?
Liverpool.
That'll be Liverpool. Average age 26.7. Fifth highest age, in other words, towards the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
in terms of average age. Newcastle, 27.1, just below them. And that is with Shea and Burn and Pope
Yeah.
in the side.
Mm-hmm.
Average age apart from that, Livramento 22, Hall 20, Botman 25, Tonali 25, J7 28, Bruno 27, Gordon 24, Isaac 25. If you average their ages out, less than 25.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been reported many times that that's what Eddie Howe wants to do. By the way, so
Absolutely, that's what he wants to do.
that's what he wants to do. We got Jefferson back right here. Jefferson, what's up, mate? Jefferson, come on, man. What happened there, man?
Oh no!
We got quick.
Scary
We
stuff.
got quick editors here, man. We got quick editors, man. We're gonna put you on the screen, boy. Oh man, yeah, you can look like the Undertaker there, man. Come on now.
Oh, dear.
Oh my gosh! That is
Wow,
scary.
that is crazy, man. That is
Oh,
crazy.
that's
Anyway,
actually scaring me.
we're gonna keep you on there for a couple of minutes. How about that? You make a blunder like that, man.
He
Ain't no
needs to
choice.
go in jail.
Yeah, it is a good job.
Yeah,
No,
that's a
but
crime watch face. That is.
so Wyndon, let me get your points on what we've been talking about. What do you think about?
I haven't done it all, to be fair, because I've been, in the.
Well, we were talking about the triple. What did they call it here? The triple swoop for João, Trafford, and Elanga.
It's the same old that everybody's been talking about. Elanga,
Yeah.
Pedro, and Trafford.
But what I'm saying is
we
that
we can virtually say Trafford's a done deal by virtue of the
why?
fact that
How can you assume that?
just because Burnley have bought a replacement keeper for him.
Well, that could be just in case, but they're not gonna,
Well, what I'm saying is that the signs are there. Nobody knows anything. You're dead right. So we're all just speculating.
Okay.
But the
According to
the fact
as
that
I-
Burnley have bought another goalkeeper for, by their standards, decent money, would suggest that they're preparing themselves to let Trafford go.
I think they've said there's reports that they've agreed personal terms. It's just a negotiation now that they need to come to a figure between the two clubs that seems to be, a decent price. And I think that's the quibble now. It's what is a decent price for somebody that probably isn't.
Well, but I mean, the Telegraph. Luke Edwards and Telegraph are saying that Newcastle. Let me see. Newcastle's offer for Trafford understood to be around 25 million with add-ons, but nothing's been reported that it's done. So if 25 million with add-ons ain't gonna get it done, so what are we talking about? More money? Is he? I mean,
The figure I've seen most widely reported is 30 mil.
well, that could be it. 25 million
And
plus
I
add-ons could
certainly
be.
wouldn't go above that for Trafford. I'm kind of with Jefferson on that.
Yeah, they're holding out for 40, aren't they? Because of the 20% that they owe Man City, and I think that's
right.
the problem.
And
You know,
I think
you've
that's-
got to have some middle ground.
Go
Yeah,
on, Jefferson.
And then as far as João Pedro is concerned, but remember, everybody condemns Howe's scouting networks and
Oh
who he
my
wants
God!
to
Why
bring
is it
and
gotta
all
be
that.
every time? There's gotta be a defending
listen.
of Eddie Howe when nobody's attacking.
Eddie Howe
I don't understand that.
was after Pedro from Watford, and it was widely reported before he went to Brighton. But who did we get instead? Alexander Isak.
So what are you trying to
Because
say?
Suddenly he was made aware that somebody else was available, so we turned from Pedro, or João Pedro, as you will have me say, to
Exactly.
Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad switch, was it?
No, that wasn't a bad switch at all, man. Let me see. I'm gonna put you right there.
And as far as Elanga's concerned, no, I want Jefferson there with her demon eyes.
No, we don't want to see that again.
We're about to put it up, man, in a second. So But the good thing
What
is
I'm
that I
saying
was telling them with them that we do
calm
have.
down, trust
No,
the process.
but listen, my job is not to calm down, to get excited, to none of that stuff. My job is to talk about what's being reported. So, with that being said, it looks like we got 125 million pounds to spend, which is actually pretty good. That's a pretty good, because if it is true what they're saying that we've been offering, I didn't know about a João Pedro offer of 50 million, and it doesn't even say if they're turning it down. Because if they turn down 50 million for João Pedro, what are we saying here? Does that mean that?
No, I'm saying just pay it.
Yeah, but I mean, if 50 million is not good enough, how much are you willing to pay for
If we
João
were
Pedro?
to quote unquote overpay by 20 million, so it's costing us £4 million a season for 5 years. What the hell? Big deal. If that gets us,
70 million win.
if that gets
Nah, man. Come on. We might as
doesn't
well
matter.
go for Nico Williams if we're paying for that
Is
kind
it
of
your
money.
money?
Do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah, well, it is actually. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. If it's not because of the fans, the football doesn't exist. So fans pay for this. They watch it. They pay for the shirts. They go to the stadium. Fans pay for this win, and you're gonna lose this battle. So just give that up.
There's nobody pays more than I pay, right?
In what?
I'm saying if it's my money,
No. That's not true actually either.
Go
Because
spend it.
me going for 2 games cost me more than your damn season ticket for you to go there and fall asleep. So no, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that because those tickets that you saw, you ripped me off. It's like £2,000 for 2 tickets for one person. So so come on, man. Don't play that I'm a season ticket holder BS over here. Because that ain't gonna fly by. Every fan has is important. And they say it should be we should have their opinions. So your opinion is more important than other fans. No, man, that don't work like that. And you can't even defend yourself.
In the big picture, paying an extra 10, 20 million.
Yeah, but no, hold on though, Win. But okay, let me pick you up on what Jefferson was saying. If that's the case, why don't you
I
just
want
really
us to improve.
Okay, exactly. So if
improving,
no, but if money
costs money,
I agree with you.
Spend it.
But then go spend it. If you got money like that, if you're Elon Musk, then go out there and spend it like a real man and buy Nico Williams or go and pursue proper elite players and not João Pedro or Elanga.
PSG winger was what, 52.5 million? Kvaratskhelia? Yeah? Won the Champions League. Why would we pay 70 million for João Pedro? I don't understand.
I think part of the problem with the striker is that we can't improve like the team with him. So whoever comes in is going to be back up to Isaac, no matter what.
Well, that yes, but João Pedro is not coming.
But this is what I'm saying. If you get someone like I've been going on about it for ages. If you get someone like a Victor Boniface, right? Apparently, I'm hearing he's available for around 40 million. Yeah, he's got all the tools. Everybody talking about Eddie working on players. He could be the next Lukaku. He looks like an absolute physical beast who could kill it in the Premier League. And what you do is you have him as backup for that first year. You rotate, give Isak a rest. Isak will probably leave next season. There's no surprise there. And in that time, you would have prepared, like you've got someone ready to step in who's already continental quality. Rather than you sell Isak, you get 120 mil, and then everyone's like, yo, so how much you paying for our striker? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand because according to Win, we got all the money in the world, and we apparently we don't, or I don't know, man. I'm confused when it comes to the club spending. I'm confused because I mean, days it seems like we don't have money. Sometimes it seems like we do got a lot of money, and I don't know. So I mean, if we got money,
Boniface could be another Lukaku.
It could be, but what is
37 goals in 121 games in the Prem.
Well, I don't know about Boniface. I'm not going to lie.
Serie A out the water, 30 and 84. In the Prem, 37 in 121 games.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak on Boniface, but because I don't know if I really.
I'm talking about Jeff has his comparing.
I know
him
that,
to Lukaku.
but the well, the moral of the story is still, something you can apply, which is go out there and get other players that could work. Everybody's a gamble, to be honest. Just like Gary was saying earlier on,
Yeah.
every player is a gamble.
Agreed.
Correct.
Other than super elite players, and they're still a gamble, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Look at Real Madrid Hazard for over 100 million. I think the most they ever spent for a player at the time, and he was a true abomination for Real Madrid. So,
But I've said it till I'm blue in the face. Being a success elsewhere does not guarantee being a success in the Prem, where you're playing hard games every week.
But even then, when
against proper teams who've got proper players.
moving from a Premier League team to that, or just like Nottingham Forest to a Newcastle United that are now Champions League, it's a hell of a step up for the players even to that. So, whatever you do, you're taking a gamble. You've got to put the money in there, basically.
Well, that's where your scouting network comes in. You've got to have somebody that fits the jigsaw.
No, we don't have anybody like
Trust the process.
We do not. We do not have a proper scouting team. That is proven.
But hang on. Whoa. We don't have a proper scouting team. Bruno, Botman, Isaac.
Easy players to find. Those are easy players to find.
Tonali.
I'm talking about.
So the three players suggested, yeah, Trafford, Elanga,
Livramento,
and João Pedro, yeah. So, would you guys say they're decent?
They're decent footballers.
They're decent, yeah.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't take
every week. Yeah.
But it doesn't take. It doesn't take an expert to scout those players.
Yes,
I will
that
agree
was
with
going to be my point. That you can see them every week on the match of the day, right? So what is this supposed Eddie-headed, Andy Howe-headed recruitment team doing when we're targeting players that you can see every week, week in, week out? But they're stealing a living then. They're stealing a living, mate.
When did Livramento a Hall play in the Premier League for a handful of games?
Hall? What are you talking about,
Who
man?
played
a young
for
player.
Chelsea? 15 games at least.
Yeah, but those are super young. Those are super young players that nobody knew anything about. Just like they bought.
Except Eddie did.
No, he
Everybody
didn't.
knew about
No, he
who.
didn't.
Graham,
No, he didn't.
Why did everybody not
Lewis
sign
all
him?
through.
The same as that blonde kid from Man City. It was the same. Nobody knew anything about him. They were they weren't proven, but it doesn't mean that all of those are going to work. Lewis Hall is an exception to the rule. And Livramento still we got to figure out. I'm not buying this Livramento is the best right back in the league BS. But
you didn't watch him playing for England yesterday.
Well, no, I don't watch columnists, man. I don't do that. We're a week. Hey, man, the biggest loss in your history, baby. I'm gonna celebrate that next week. Woo! I'm gonna put Wynn's face on my fireworks, and I'm gonna blow you up, man. Next week. That's when you lose. That's when you take that L, mighty Wynn. Take that L back where you're from, man. Take that L. Anyways,
does not look pleased. Definitely doesn't look pleased.
Listen, let me tell you this. Cunha and Embuemo, this article says that Cunha and Embuemo fees are affecting the market. They're going to Man United, or they're probably going to go. At least Cunha is. Embuemo is looking like he's going to go.
By the way, I don't think that's a done deal yet.
One of the issues dominating valuation of players this summer, it says, is the 65 million Manchester have paid for Cunha, which is the same figure that Brenton are demanding for Brian and Embuemo. So are we saying that, I guess they're trying to say that those are prices are getting inflated, and it is what it is. There's no such thing as a Saudi tax, maybe, or maybe there is. I don't know. It's just that it depends how you look at it, but maybe it's just prices. But I don't. But if we were going to say 50 for Embuemo has definitely had a better season than Elanga by a long shot.
I would pay 80 for Embuemo. No danger.
Well, that's fine. I listen. I'm good with that. But why is the club? Why does the club not have the bullocks to just say, listen, 80 million, man? And Brentford are going to sell it to Newcastle.
That's my beef at the minute. My beef right at the minute is with PIF.
Yep.
No, but
PIF, stop putting PIF. PIF are somewhere in the Gulf, man. The PIF is not negotiating with anybody. It's whoever's in charge, Darren Neals and the other guys, man. Our
when
Mayan is not even bothered right now. Go on,
it's
Boki.
also down to wages as well. So yes, you could go out and spend £80 million on a player, but then you're going to have to offer him what, 250, 300,000
No,
pounds a week.
the well publicised figure at Man United is 150, which puts him alongside
But-
our.
But we're paying 80 million for him. So if you pay 80 million for a player, his wages are automatically going to go up. And then the likes of Isaac,
Well,
Bruno, Tonali, all these Botman, all these players are going to come forward and say, hang on, if the wages have risen to this level, we all want an increase.
I think
It
that's
has
right
a
as well.
massive knock-on effect.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand that, but that's not really. I mean, that's not reasonable though. That's not really. It's not a fair demand. No, it
You
isn't.
are
Now,
constant.
only Isak can say that because he, as unfair as it may be, strikers are their contribution is pretty black and white, and Isak is different. But everybody else, I mean, Pope is like, I want to get paid more than Trafford because I was a champion and all. But no. We're not. You know, it's all bullocks, man. Some players might feel that way, but that doesn't mean that we all of a sudden have to renegotiate every contract.
So, Chris,
I mean,
what happens to the likes of Bruno? You turn around to him and say,
Bruno just got a new contract.
Bruno's
Yeah,
just-
He's over 100. I mean, we can't keep doing it because, and then the other new guy that says, I want to be an important player, I want more now because Bruno just renegotiated his contract. So we're just going to be doing this nonstop. We can't.
No,
do
what
that,
I'm
man.
saying is, pay him the 150 he's getting at Man United, which is perfectly acceptable
Yeah, I agree with
and
that.
reasonable.
I'm with Win on this.
And,
I agree with that.
and he's
I
not
think it's
he's
doable.
not getting as much as Isaac or Gordon or who else has just negotiated? Bruno.
I don't think Bruno
Seven.
gets paid 150 though, does he?
Bruno is the top earner, 180.
Oh,
But
is
it's
that
the
right?
gamble,
Holy
it's the
heck.
gamble that we could take because if we sign top quality players and get Champions League again, we can definitely afford it.
Of course you can.
Every year the
But that-
revenue
but
and
that is-
sponsorships are growing.
And
that
that's
is-
the
that-
point.
but it's
We've
a
got
big
to be
gamble.
a big club now, not a little club.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that,
and
what?
last win, some ambition.
Yeah, at last,
Well,
exactly when woke up from his
Hallelujah.
nap.
Yeah, I'm talking about paying 80 million for
Chinatown has served them
proven
right.
players instead of gambling on 30 and 40 million maybe players from the continent.
Those players would. I mean, I think I can speak for myself. I have only talked about those players because everybody says we're broke. So everybody says that we don't have money. So you have to be open minded to do other deals. But if we got money, like you're saying, we got all the money in the world, then hey, go buy whoever. I mean, but
We've got
So Willock and
massive
Longstaff too.
sponsorship deals
But-
up our sleeves.
no, we don't. Win. Now you are speculating on that. No, we don't. And we who's telling you we got this massive sponsored deals in under our, what did you say, under our arm or whatever? What makes you
Our
think that?
sleeves.
What makes you think that?
the problem is as well, if you pay £80 million for a player, you're talking £20 million for the next 5 seasons for that player.
Yeah, you
Well,
can't be
you're talking
amortizing
20
everything.
You're talking 20 million now and you're talking 16 million now and 16 million for 4 seasons.
Wages and sign-on fees would be closer to 20, I would think, Win.
Sell
with
the
150
average
grand
players
a
and
year,
you can
that's 3
finance
million a
it.
year.
I mean,
150 grand a week, 3 million a year.
you've got to ask yourself if Man City seem to achieve, what you keep on saying about these Premier League proven players, and if Man City can go out there and still maintain a top 4 position, yes, they haven't won a lot last season. I'm not counting as last season; they had a lot of issues, but they still seem to be able to pick up these players that seem to hit the ground running in the Premier League. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that you are going to get a dud, even from the Premier League. Certain players won't play in the system that you're looking at. I know. I'll look at Elanga. Elanga looks to me like a player who wants just to hit on the break. He's the Salah, if you like, of Nottingham Forest. He's the one who will sit on the halfway line and look for the ball over the top. Now, if Eddie Howe looks at playing a system very similar to that, then fair play. You'll need a player, but we've got one, Anthony Gordon. That's why we need to keep going left all the time, because you're just looking for the pace of Anthony Gordon to get behind. Then I look at João Pedro and I keep thinking to myself, now, where are you going to play? If you're going to spend 50 plus million on this player as a backup to Isak, because he plays either a 10 or up front as a 9, is that not just gambling your money away? Yeah, I'm saying you need a striker. You need somebody who can take the realm off a little bit of Isak and the pressure. But I would rather spend that money on somebody who can play on the right wing, give you the options on that right wing. And there's, again, a lot of players out there that can play across the front three. Why are we gambling £50 million on a player that's going to potentially sit on the bench for a long time?
Because I don't think he's going to sit on the bench.
Well, I think João Pedro will probably be right wing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But then it's a gamble, isn't it? Because that's not his natural position.
But
his natural position is a 10.
I think he can play.
We've got 70 games to play next season, roundabout, hopefully. Even playing 4-3-3, neither of our forwards. If you said we've got João Pedro and Isak, neither of them are going to play 70 games this season and be effective.
Well, they shouldn't. That's why you're getting. They shouldn't. That's why you're getting these. Should be getting these signings. Did Wayne and Jefferson just agree on something? Might go buy a lottery ticket. There you go, James Cove. Shout out, man. By the way, I want to apologize to whoever I said that I didn't hear. Well, I still didn't hear at the time that personal terms were agreed for Trafford. So whoever it was, I don't know the panel, I can't remember. But Fabrizio Romano is obviously saying it. I just saw it as I was scrolling through the news. And James Trafford has fully agreed personal terms with Newcastle, and talks between clubs keep advancing. No agreement yet on the fee with Burnley, but expectation remains to get it done in the next days. So Newcastle confident as reported. And my only objection to this is that it's taken this long, and we got one player, or we are about to. We're not even fully agreed yet. It's taken this long because we've been linked. I don't know if you. I know you've been on an app, but we've been linked with Trafford for at least a year and a half now, and we finally getting it done. But the point is, our first signing is going to be a signing that we don't need. So still not going to appease fans. Only you were going to celebrate. You're going to celebrate. I know that. That's fine, but still, it doesn't appease proper fans. So I'm just saying, man. It took a long time, but it's not even done yet. But at the end of the day, I guess it would be a starter for Newcastle, right? Or are we going to buy a goalkeeper for him not to start?
He's definitely starting.
Yeah. The one thing we haven't discussed is, with all these signings, not one of them is a right centre-back, which was a priority.
Exactly my point, man. Exactly my point.
Arsenal ran for a cheap one today, weren't they? Mosquera.
I'm going to say Mosquera was touted for business, wasn't
he? Yeah.
But Gary, the point you made earlier, you could have some new content material for your tactics video. Bonus footage for members, of course. But if you think about it, remember Liverpool, they had a fluid front three where you had obviously Salah, Mane, Firmino. Firmino dropped deep into the 10. It could work out where if you've got Pedro on the right inside forward channel, what happens is they shift across former 2, Gordon or whoever's left, shifts in and slots in behind. Or people are forgetting that for Sweden, actually, sometimes Isak
does the role.
Yeah, so exactly. There is some tactical fluidity there that could be promising from an Eddie perspective.
But that's exactly right. What you have to do then is, and again, maybe we saw a glimpse of it when you saw Harvey Barnes playing on the inside right position towards the latter part of the season with 3 centre-backs and our wing-backs then taking the brunt of the running legs, if you like, up and down the field. And I quite like that. Don't get me wrong. And that's what I'm saying. For me, if you're going to go out there and spend £50+ million on a player, you want him to start looking at the first 11. You don't want to be spending £50 million on a player that's going to be on the bench and then come in as a substitute for the likes of Isak. And again, when you look at the likes of João Pedro's finishing abilities, he doesn't really give me, 10 goals a season isn't somebody that I think's a natural goal scorer up top. And that's why I said I think he certainly would fit a system. Whether you drop the likes of J7, you play a 4-2-3-1, it'd work. It'd work quite well, and then maybe bring J7 on against tougher opponents, and then maybe work the system that way. And again, we've mentioned before, is J7 becoming that injury-prone person because he's the one that gets stuck into that midfield all the time? So, is Eddie starting to look at a different jigsaw now and starting to pick up a player that'll play in a more advanced role rather than like for like in that midfield where we've struggled to go like for J7 in the past, and we've had to adapt to a different formation to cover that void. And I think, like I said, unless you go out there to start looking at players, which is what I was trying to do before, and look into Europe and saying, well, that player, if you look at his actual stats, he's virtually a mirror of this player, and you look literally through the spine of the team, and there's loads out there. Just doesn't mean that they're going to fit the Eddie system of play. Are they going to be the type of pressers in the side? Have you ever seen João Pedro, hand on heart now, go running 40 and 50 yards to press? He's not that player.
Yeah,
So-
but if you think, you're saying he's not that player, but if that's what Eddie wants, maybe Eddie doesn't want his wingers to press. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Has Eddie got something else in mind now for this new, this coming season? We've seen the fact that we're going to have now more games. We can't keep the press. We can't keep the high intensity because we know it wrecks the lads. We've seen it in the past.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to. That's 100%. So
let's just put this to bed.
oh my God. Okay. Okay, man.
Ends out.
If we are going to improve on what we've already got, and this is
the breaking news.
notwithstanding the fact that we have well overperformed with what we have already got. We've well overperformed. If we are going to improve on what we've got, any player that we're going to bring in to hit that first team running is going to cost at least 60 million.
Well,
You're
I would
not
say
going
so,
to
yeah.
get a player for less than 60 million. But maybe the centre backs, but you're not going to get an attacking, goal-scoring player for less than 60 mil who's going to improve that team that we've got.
Akliush's 40 million win.
Well, between 40 and 60, depending on what rumours you look at, Jeb. And to be fair, what a player. He's 6 foot tall. He's got a really low centre of gravity, favours his left foot, but can go down the right, can come inside. He's a player that I would certainly look at. Again, he's a 23-year-old.
Is he best, Barry?
I don't know, Tom.
Gary, sorry.
I mean, when you.
By the way, and he even he does it in text. He does it in text, man. Which is he's no. He said because you were freezing or something, and he's I think Barry's freezing. It's like it's fucking Gary, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? In text, how do you do that in text?
It wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't got my name at the bottom of the bloody screen. That's what I can't.
Yeah. Jesus, man.
But at the point when Wire was then spending 25-30 million pound on a keeper, that
exactly
improve the team.
Because again, if you look at any team,
because Eddie Howe knows best,
that's had major success, the goalkeeper is absolutely integral to all of that. You had Seaman at Arsenal, you had Schmeichel at Man United.
God!
You've got
So
Alisson,
putting Trafford in there.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. Huh?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked Win is saying this.
You can't possibly put Trafford in their
What have
category.
you done with the real Win?
Well, this is the real win. He's just getting lower and lower.
I'm not putting Trafford in.
But
in
you
that
are if
category.
you're saying we need a
No,
world class
no,
goal.
no,
No.
Not
It's a
yet.
valid
I'm not.
point.
What I am saying is that Nick Pope
Oh
and
man,
Dubravka, at his age now,
you
are
are
not
knackered, man.
in that category.
I
Okay,
think
but
the Champions League, the
but
risk
so
is
but it isn't Trafford either.
Pope because he's
I
not
think
good in
Trafford
possession.
could be. I
You
don't
can't-
think-
Well,
I
but
don't
what
think
is
he
this?
is. It's not.
Okay.
It wouldn't be my choice.
You can't be 2-0 down to Inter Milan or something. You're playing it back to the keeper and he's kicking it in the stands. We can't have that in the Champions League. He's not
Well,
good enough in possession. We need a
But I
keeper.
don't think that's what I think
He-
Trafford
oh,
does play with his feet though.
Well,
I mean,
by the way, that
Trafford
was
apparently
highly
plays with his feet.
that was highly successful tactics against
Traff-
PSG at home.
But when we finished bottom of the group, you know. But at the end of the day,
The
yes,
night
I agree. We
the
do
greatest,
need,
one of the
an
greatest
upgrade
nights in our
forward.
history when we beat PSG 4-1. The last, 10, 15 minutes, Nick Pope kicked the ball into touch about 6 times. I said at the time, looking at it then, this is deliberate.
Even
The mentality
he is, he cannot be that
win.
bad.
Even
I don't
Bro-
want
listen.
a participation awards. I want to get
Exactly.
out of the group stage and get in the next round.
Well,
And I
this
don't
is
think
the mentality
that's a
anybody's
lot easier now, by the way.
nobody's going to
Yeah.
argue if we get a better keeper than what we've got, but
Exactly. That's the
Trafford
point.
But I'm
isn't better
arguing
than what
for
we've
you.
got.
No, but you're
Listen.
not arguing that. You talk out of both sides of your mouth, man. If you believe that you're just saying, if you believe you're saying you believe that what's his name, Trafford is not. You're not comparing him to all those goalkeepers you mentioned. Then why? Then you are saying we don't need Trafford. That is your statement. That's your opinion. But don't say.
Trafford's got the potential to become that.
Well, what is this potential crap, man? I mean, I don't know what. Okay, even Broski,
If I had my way, I'd go and get Martinez right now.
Broski.
Martinez tomorrow.
Listen, Broski is subscribed to your OnlyFans account. Win. He loves you this much, and even he is disagreeing with you. He says Trafford is rubbish, and we have Pope and Dubs. Are you kidding me, man?
Is there anybody who says 2 penalties against the Mackhams in one game?
Oh, okay, so sentimentality. Okay, I got you now. I see what your tactics are. By the way, finishing this article, it says that just letting you know, arrivals will not guarantee exits. Just because we get Trafford doesn't mean that we're going to sell Pope or that anybody's going to leave for that matter. Is that a good thing, bad thing? What are you thinking as far as Longstaff, Willock? As far as Pope, if we get Trafford, who else is out there in the chopping block? Who else is in the chopping block? Wilson, 100%.
Emil Kraft, maybe, or will we keep him as a squad
No,
player?
Kraft will be kept. Yeah,
No, not Kraft, but the other one,
Target.
oh my God, yeah, Target. That's
Willock, Target, I think, could all potentially go. But again, you see what we were saying before. Do you cut your nose off to spite your face? Because if we get to that point where we've sold all our squad players, even though they aren't up to the standard that we require, Eddie still knows you can get a tune out of some of them to a point. Now, I always say, don't sell until you've replaced it. Till you replace the person that you want to sell. And again, I'll go back to what we've sold. I look at what Chelsea have done with the women's team, and I was going to bring this up tomorrow. There was a comment from DX earlier on saying that you'd be lucky to get 35,000 or something for our women's team. Now, Chelsea have spent or sold their women's team for £200 million on the presumption that the women's league or the women's football is going to be at the standard of the men's football in 25 years' time.
Hey, that's why I want to get my season ticket for the women's.
Ain't
that right, Wayne?
And tonight, before I come on board with yourselves, in the background I've been watching Les Jeunes under 15s absolutely annihilate the Swiss ladies team, international team, 7-1. And I mean, it was some fantastic finishing. Don't get me wrong, from the Les Jeunes under 15s, phenomenal finishing. But they absolutely took these girls off the park. Now, like I said,
So
we did not have to sell Anderson or Minte if we'd have taken the same road. Because all
But we
we'd have to
don't.
do is sell the women's team to our third-party sister company. And we could have probably got 100 and some odd million for it on the presumption in 25 years' time it's going to be as good as the women's team, the men's
Well,
team.
well, and listen, I don't think that's a far-fetched idea. I think that you got to be open-minded. You got to look for different ways to to get around the rules, and to me, that's perfectly legal. That's what men with ties and suits are there to do, to get us out of trouble and figure out. Um, to, quite
Sunderland,
honestly,
re-
quite
Sunderland,
honestly,
Sunderland reserves
quite honestly,
beat
I think.
the Lionesses
Okay, well, that's
6-1.
yeah, it is what it is. But
No,
the point
you know,
that's not the point though. The point is that as much as our scouting team, our directors are not open-minded. They're not open-minded.
So you
There's
say.
nothing. Well, no, I speak on what the proof. The proof is in the pudding. So again, we
Well,
keep
where's
going.
the proof?
We
What's
keep
your
we keep
proof?
going back to the deals. We made the deals originally when they signed when they took over Newcastle.
This is
And then they signed the players and then they
Bruno, Botman,
again.
Isaac,
But let
Tonali.
let me finish then. Let me finish. So the same thing. The directors and the scouting team did amazing the first time around, and they were never seen again. They got Bruno, they got Tonali, they got all these guys, unbelievable, great. But football keeps going, right? So we can't have Tonali for 30 years. You know, he's going to retire at some point. So in the beginning, the directors also just got the sponsor. The Adidas, unbelievable, great. They got Sella, they got Noon, I don't even know what Noon does, but they got all of them twats. But that's where they stayed. We keep going to the training sponsor. We keep going about what happened with the stadium. They said January. They extended for a couple months, and now we don't know when the announcement is going to be. So it's all. There's no the CEO. We don't know if he's working, if he's not working. There's no DOF. We're just doing these things out of the blue. And if Mike Ashley would be doing this, it would be mayhem, rioting all over Newcastle, and understandably so. And I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just putting it into perspective, because we can't think that all of a sudden everything is great. No, think critically. That's all I'm
We
asking.
can't think
you can
everything's
argue
great.
the recruitment was better under Ashley as well in
Well,
terms of
no, don't say
being
that.
able
Don't
to.
say that.
It's
That-
true though, being able to scout these obscure foreign
but
players win, and some of them who turned into cult heroes.
By the way,
like
that was
Abai
without the
or
director of
Perez
football. That
for
was with
cheap.
Graham Carr.
For cheap and make profit, right? But the thing for me, going back to the board, we're nearly 4 years in, and I don't understand why we've not modernized and done a multi-club model, because all the other clubs are doing it, and we were linked to Santos. So let's just say we bought Santos. We could easily get one of their players who has a Portuguese or Italian passport, because that's quite common in
Right.
Brazil. So they could come here and you pay something like 8 million, 10 million. Why aren't we
Right.
doing this stuff? We just need to get a bit more
It's in the
dastardly and
pipeline.
cunning. Like what Gary was saying, like these other clubs. If you can't beat them, join them. Because I don't understand why we have to have this moral compass. Who cares? Like, we just want success. So let's just do it, man. What are we waiting on?
Well,
Hang on. Whoa.
Just a quick
You're
point,
talking
Win.
about.
I'll let
Go on,
Boki
Boki.
gets a.
Just a quick point, Win. Carr, I believe, was one of the directors in regards to there was him, McLaren.
Exactly.
So
Now, whether they had the official title DOF, it doesn't matter. They were doing the job of a DOF, so that's what
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Well, no,
was-
because they didn't have a DOF.
Well, they didn't have the title, but it's still doing.
The DOF he put in was bloody the
Kinnear?
Poison Dwarf.
Joe Kinnear was one.
Penfold, isn't it?
Dennis
Penfold.
Wise.
No, Dennis Wise.
Yeah.
Joe Kinnear was manager.
No joking.
No, Joe Kinnear was a director, man. At one point, he was also manager, I think.
I don't know
But
if he was the director, but the point was
Maybe.
those deals that you're talking about Ashley doing, they were all just down to Graham Carr's scouting in France.
the thing is, man, we can't stay
But
stuck.
Jefferson's talking about buying Santa. That's in the pipeline. It's gonna. You don't buy one of the biggest clubs in Brazil just like that. It
But it's
takes
Yeah,
not-
well,
time.
I mean, but that I don't hold on. I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna say I agree with that either, Jefferson, because I mean, I don't think we can expect clubs to just buy other clubs just to benefit us. But I think I can expect the club to figure it out. I mean, this PSR thing it's already known. We complain about it, we cry about it, but we can only cry so long, man. At some point, the Premier League is not changing the rules, so you got to figure out a way around it. Just like Chelsea has done multiple times. Man United, for some reason, are in PSR problem, but they keep buying players. So I don't, so we got to figure a way around it.
But that's what I mean, Chris. You mentioned Chelsea. Chelsea have got Strasbourg. So they've sent Andre Santos over there, bought him for cheap as chips, 12 million. He was captain of the under-20 team or whatever it is. He's had 2 seasons in France. Now he's a top player. They're bringing him back. Same with, what do you call him? Man City.
See how he gets on in the Prem.
Right? They have Girona and Troyes in France. They signed Savinho for like 6-7 million. Send him on loan to Troyes. Send him on loan to Girona. He has his breakout season. They bring him back cheap. You have to find a way around it. We can't just sit there and watch these other clubs flourish and grow. If you can't beat them, join them. We got to do something.
But I don't believe they are just sitting there.
Get a club in Belgium. Get a club in France, wherever it is. Connect it with a South American club, bring them over, sign them for cheap.
Again, I think that could be a far-fetched idea, to be honest.
PIF have been here for 3.5 years. Let that sink in.
Yeah,
they're not amateurs.
That's the point.
Their portfolio, they know about business.
That's the point when it's sunk in already. So you need to start floating again, man.
Do you not think some of the issue is as well that maybe is when Newcastle were took over by PIF, that there was stipulations put in place that they couldn't do certain things. So maybe that's why we're a bit more standoffish than other clubs, in that there was stipulations put in place that we couldn't maybe go and buy another club for.
I think
couldn't do certain things.
There could be something behind the scenes we don't know.
I mean, we are put.
You're wrong, by the way.
But I mean, I think when it comes to buying other clubs, I don't think we can just do that.
They've been squeaky clean the whole
way.
Well, that's the thing.
Government, PIF had government influence, isn't it? You know, we saw when they kicked off with Boris, and then they put out that Oliver Dowden put out a statement. He was like the secretary for sport at the time, and also Boris was like, "What's going on? Why isn't this takeover going through?" Like Saudi got on the phone to the prime minister saying, "What's going on?" So they've got pull behind the scenes, and everything they were told to clear up.
Let's not forget they had Amanda then as well.
But that is the thing, you know. Look, the PIF thing. I mean, we also got to understand that this is not their top. I don't know if they have a business that. I'm sure they have a business that makes them all their money that they worry about consistently. Well, Newcastle, where's Newcastle in the pecking order? We're not nowhere near the top, to be honest. So it has to be to a certain extent self-sufficient, and we have to work within our means here in this realm of Premier League, football thing. You know, so buying other clubs and that's fine, but I mean that's actually PIF. You know, that's more far-fetched than I think.
You're still not going to see the benefits of that.
I mean, look, they got Saudi. They already got Saudi clubs,
we need to do it now. We're in our position that we're in now. We need to go out and spend every penny we possibly can right now, and that means buying proven first-team players. That's where I stand on this one.
Well, I agree, but we're not doing that, man.
Not penny pinching. Not doing we're big. We're one of the big clubs now, right?
Oh, look at you, man! This is a different win. What's happened? What's happened to this win, man?
What's going on?
I like that.
We got a windfall last season.
Hold on.
Qualifying for the Champions League again.
Win.
Go on,
Bogey.
Don't throw it away by gambling.
One at a time, man. Bogey, go on.
Chris, you're 100% right there in what you're saying about PIF and what's their priority. And that's why it's so important that we have a chief executive officer that's fully engaged at the club and putting our case forward to them. And as we've all said, that's not happening at the minute. And is that the problem behind the scenes?
Yeah. Well, I agree with you when you say I'm right. So as long as but anyways, listen, we had a nice show. Tomorrow will be 2:30 p.m. Gary will be doing that one. And
I'm hoping I might be on.
we hope, maybe, hopefully. So this is for me.
There's a lot of phone calls to go through the ether before then, but
Absolutely.
Well, this is my
You
last
know
show.
where I am, Win.
By the way, Gary, have you been on a diet? You look like you've lost weight, man.
Yeah, 26 kg now, guys.
You're looking healthy, mate.
What are you doing, man?
Not a lot, mate. Just watching. What I eat.
Other than crack, not a lot.
Yeah, my. I'm just noticing a different style of crack.
Yeah. There you go.
I hope Queenie's not listening.
Oh boy. So tomorrow, this is my last show for a good week or so because I'm going on vacation. Let me see when I'll be back. Probably the 7th of July somewhere. So I'll be off. Win probably. Hopefully he'll be joining us. So it'll be Gary tomorrow, guaranteed. Monday we're back, and of course a show every weekday. So join the team. Keep having a good chat, good discussion, and I'm going Las Vegas, man. Sin City, boy. It's not ready for
City.
It's not ready for me, man. I'm about to gamble all my money away, man. Nah, I'm just playing. But anyways, thank you, Bokeh. Thank you, Jefferson, Gary, Mighty Win. We will see you all on the next one, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Away the lads.
Lassies